all the infrastructure that we could basically use to really grow our business like we have been. So that's our company that owns our company. Now, our company, WFG, some of you may or may not have heard of our company before. I'll dig into that why on the next slide. We don't do traditional kind of advertising, but we have some partnerships that we've had over the years. So if you look on the screen there, you can see the Toronto Argonauts. We sponsored them when they won the Grey Cup. You can see the World Financial Group on the shoulder there below that. The NHL marketing, there's probably a lot of happy, so there's people on this Zoom line here from coast to coast. For those of you that are in person, if you look back there, you can see the people in Zoom. Sorry, you looked back before and they weren't there. We just didn't, it wasn't set up yet. But the Toronto fans are very happy right now, to say the least. So if you guys know a little bit about hockey, they lose in the first round every year. And then they've got one of the top teams ever. They've got them like on the ropes. So I'm excited for them just to beat those guys finally. So anyway, we've done some NHL marketing. Curling, I didn't really know a lot about curling until we started sponsoring them, but we have all sorts of curling sponsorships that we've done. If you turn on the sports channel, there's curling. Last week there was advertisements on the ice. There's WFG signs on the backboards. There's commercials, all sorts of stuff. There's Team Jennifer Jones. We sponsored them when they won the gold medal. We've done some stuff with Tony Robbins, Forbes magazine, Canadian Business, all sorts of different things. And then we can see the Ed Milet show. That's a WFG agent, and so he's kind of famous. He had the #1 selling book on Amazon, one of the fastest growing podcasts in the world, has all sorts of famous people basically on his podcast. So the reason we highlight him is he helps train the entire company, and he's been doing that with us for a really long time. Now he kind of trains the rest of the world, so to speak. So, we share his knowledge and expertise with everybody, but he's a WFG agent, still actively growing his business on top of a bunch of the other things that he's doing, if you've heard of him. Now, how many of you on Zoom or in person have seen one of the companies on the screen before? Right? Yeah, of course. Everybody's seen most of those companies on there. How many of you are like, no matter what he says, I'm not putting up my hand? That's you put up your hand. There we go. So this is a really important slide from a business perspective, because when I was getting started with WFG, it was important for me to become a broker. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, my mom's friends had left the bank to become brokers. They were doing okay at the bank. When they left the bank, as became brokers, they did very well. Nice cars, golfing, making good income, all that stuff. So I didn't really know a lot about it. But then when I started to dig into it, I was like, well, I asked my mom, why did they leave the bank? Well, Cameron, when they're at the bank, they can only sell bank products. So when they left and become brokers, then they can shop it around the entire financial industry, which gives them more tools to basically help their clients with, which then gives them the ability to get more referrals and basically grow their book of business. So that's kind of all I really knew about it. So when I heard about WFG and I was kind of researching the financial industry, that was a very important thing to me was, are they brokers? So just some of the obvious ones to point them out. We've got the banks, TD, RBC, BMO, big investment companies, worldwide ones, Franklin Templeton, Fidelity. You look at Aon is the largest home and auto brokerage in the world. Knowledge First is the largest RESP company in the world. Big insurance companies, Manulife, IA. For those of you that are in Edmonton, IA Financial, they're the #1 insurance company in Canada by the number of policies sold. So they help the most families basically in Canada every year. They're actually in the back room that's doing training. So for those of you that are in person, if there's some snacks and things like that, that was IA that brought those. So if you see them, you can thank them. And for those of you that are on Zoom, you'll just have to have like a virtual snack or something like that. And we'll send the bill to IA. But these are just some huge companies that we basically work with. And that really got me excited, because when I was thinking about, okay, I'm gonna start this business, I need a product or service that's competitive in the marketplace. And so instead of what my mom was doing, where she could only sell one product because that's where she worked, now all of a sudden I had the ability to shop it around. That got me really excited about it from a business perspective. And just kind of full disclosure, I told you guys in the beginning, I was 24 years old when I started. And so really one of the main things that I was thinking about was not necessarily getting into the financial industry because I wanted to be a financial advisor. although I've turned into that and we're really good at it and I train lots of people at it, but I was getting into the financial industry because I saw it as a viable business where there was a huge need for the products and services that WFG provided. So that's kind of why I got into it. And really when I got into it, it was kind of like I was managing a nightclub. And so I was like, how am I going to do this financial thing? But they told me, well, there's no classes really you can take in school. I mean, I guess you can get, an economics degree, but then really that's more like working for one of these companies is where that comes in handy. Like when we're doing this, helping people with mortgages, investments, insurance, things like that, it would be more like a realtor. Can you go to school? Is there like Realtor University 101? No, you take a course through the government, you get a license similar to us. But anyways, there's all these great companies that we basically work with. Being a broker was very important to me, and we've been able to grow and expand quite a bit because of that. So that was really important. And last thing, let's say we took 10 Canadian families and we did a survey. How many out of 10 do you think would be dealing with one of the 5 major banks? What would you guys guess? Say on Zoom if you want to vote with your fingers. We got, let's see on Zoom. We got 9, we got 5, we got a 7, a 10, 4 or 5, something like that. So basically we could all agree it's much more than half. It's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that are all dealing with the banks, right? And then if we add in some other companies like, London Life, Freedom 55, Investors Group, Primerica, a bunch of companies like that and put them together with the banks, those companies represent the vast, vast majority of Canadians' finances in Canada. So what all those companies, the reason I put them together was they all have in common is they manufacture and distribute their own products. They're not brokers, basically. Does that make sense, everyone? So that's our competitive advantage, is the vast majority of Canadians are not dealing with a broker. We're one of the few companies that is a broker. And so we have more tools and we have more products to basically get our clients better deals, which I'll dig into that on the next page. And I guess another thing from a business perspective, when I started working here and I was just kind of checking things out, I looked at all these names on the screen and I thought, well, geez, if these companies are going to do their due diligence on WFG, then it doesn't really matter what I think. They've already done their due diligence and, WFG doesn't provide any of their own products anyways. So these are the companies that really, are out there helping them expand their business. So just a little bit about that. Now, some of you are like, okay, that's great. You guys, are brokers, but what exactly do you do? So let's dig into this. Now, we'll start here on the blue circle side of things, insurance. Now, how many of you on Zoom or in person, how many of you have insurance? Curious one, right? So everyone puts up their hand. And then how many of you like to pay for it? Right? Nobody puts up their hand. So it is what it is. It's the same thing for everyone, but we know that we have to have it and we know there's benefits for it. We just don't like to pay for it. So one of the cool things with us as being brokers is that we can shop around to get people the best deals and help them get set up with the right type, make sure that their money is going to the right spots. So different things we help people with. Health and dental just came from the dentist today. So then we have a product through Manulife where let's say somebody, we're in the office where we're broadcasting this from, we're in Alberta. Lots of people in 2015 were laid off. And then what happened was they lost their benefits. So they wanted to buy those back. We're able to help them get those through Manulife so that when they go to the dentist, they have that coverage, things like that. We've got some funeral planning products that we have, disability coverage. While I was there, before I did some dentist stuff, I was getting my teeth cleaned. So a lot of the dental hygienists, basically, they work for a company, but they're kind of like contractors. So they typically don't actually have disability coverage. So that's a huge area where we help people. And so I talked to my dental hygienist today and she's like, oh, I'm really glad you're talking to me about this. Like yesterday was a tough day and I was thinking about getting disability coverage. So we'll see. Maybe my visit will be paid for. I'll help her get a disability policy, which she needs and she said she wanted. And then I'll get paid a finder's fee for doing that. So she won't have to pay me anything for that. And it'll pay for my dentist visit, maybe. I don't know. So just for fun, thought I would share that. So disability coverage, if somebody's like a white collar worker, we typically send them to RBC. If someone's a blue collar worker, we'll typically send them to IA, the company that's here this evening we were talking about. So that's kind of the power of being a broker. And there's other companies we can deal with as well, but just to kind of name a few. Critical illness, we've all know someone that's had some sort of cancer, heart attack, something like that. So we have coverage to help people with that. Life insurance. So a big one that we do here is, when you get a mortgage, how there's like mortgage life insurance that if you pass away, your mortgage is paid off. You guys ever heard of that before, right? Most people. So the thing is that product's not the best. And so what we'll do is we'll actually replace that product with a fully underwritten product, a personalized product that's significantly better, like the vast majority of the time, and costs less money. So like if I sit down with 10 people that have mortgage life insurance, I'll switch their mortgage life insurance over 8 or 9 times out of 10. The only time that I don't switch it over is because they just don't care. They're like, no, I'm paying $40 a month. I don't care. I don't want to save any money, whatever. But for the most part, we have a much better product that helps people out. I might as well just chat about it. The challenge with the mortgage life insurance as well too is it sometimes doesn't pay out. It's underwritten after the fact. And so what happens is and this is a CBC Marketplace article actually that I'm quoting, you qualify to pay premiums, and then when you pass away, they'll see if they want to pay it out or not. So that's how it works through the bank. So we actually get people a product that's not through the bank that gets them a much better deal, that's underwritten up front. So, and then the payout percentage, the last one I saw was like 99.7%. So some of you are like, you hear stories about insurance, doesn't pay out, or I had this problem, or it was like, there was a storm and it was an act of God, so then we're not going to pay out, or whatever, right? It's like all these sorts of little ins and outs. Ours, for the last one that I saw, was 99.7%. And there's actually, they probably paid out more claims than they should have, because lots of people will basically disappear and they'll buy life insurance and disappear and go somewhere and try to collect. And the insurance companies are really good at like finding these people. They should almost do a show on that. That would be kind of like fun to watch, because lots of people try to do it, right? They go somewhere and disappear and try to claim on their life insurance. So anyway, so that's another area we help people get the right type of insurance, get a better deal on it. Travel insurance for those of you that are traveling. So really, simply put, we're brokers. People deal with us. We get them better deals. We get them set up properly, and we help them on the insurance side of things. If you're going to spend money on it, have the best type that covers you properly. Then switching gears, investments and savings. This has been a huge one through COVID, just because people, were locked down and they were bored. So they started to look at their investments and where they were invested. So why would people deal with us? Again, because we're brokers. Typically somebody goes to the bank, they get a cookie cutter portfolio that every single person that goes there basically gets. We're able to get something that's more custom. We can customize it. There's even some guarantees that we can offer that they can't offer at the bank, just with some of the different licenses we have. So there's some really cool stuff that we can do there. Obviously, you guys have heard of like RSPs, non-registered accounts, TFSAs. Again, we help people with that, retire faster with more money, pension transfers, RDSPs, RESPs, kids education plans, all those different things. Then the last area, some referral partnerships we have, mortgages. So last year we did $1 billion with BMO. And so when we deal with BMO, we're dealing with them more on the wholesale side of things. When people walk in the front door, they're dealing with BMO on the retail side of things. So we're just able to negotiate a deal with them up front that, hey, if we're us WFG going to send you a client, you make sure you give them the best deal. And they're like, we will do that. We'll give them the best deal. So the vast majority of the time, our people that we send will get a better deal through BMO than they could get through their own bank. So I've never seen someone get a better deal through their own bank than we could get them through BMO, just because of the volume that we send them. So that part's cool. And again, we refer the business to BMO. They get a mortgage that they wouldn't have otherwise had. So it's a win-win-win. So, the client's happy, they get the best deal that's possible. The, BMO's happy, they get a client that they wouldn't have otherwise had. And then we're happy because BMO pays us a commission for sending them business that they wouldn't have otherwise had. So that part is awesome there. We also have a mortgage broker that we deal with. Those of you in Edmonton, you might have heard of Colin Bruce Mortgage Team. We deal with them too. So that's on the mortgage side of things. A referral, debt consolidation. None of us have any debt. We know someone, so we help them go from a high interest rate, low interest rate, and then home and auto back to the whole insurance thing. So we have some good referral partnerships. So I was talking to our home and auto person yesterday and just kind of changing some things around, adjusting it, making it better. So if I just I went through a lot of stuff, but it's actually pretty simple. We get people better deals on their insurance. We get people better deals on their investments. We get people better deals on their debt. Why can we do that and our competitors can't? Because we're brokers and they're not. I guess I could have started with that. You guys would probably have preferred that. But it would have been weird though, right? To just bring you here and only tell you that. But that's really the simplest part of it. And that's why we're expanding. That's why we're looking for some good people. And then just the last thing as I'm wrapping up here, again, lots of people have debt. And, we're one of the few companies, I've been doing this for 18 years. We've been talking about people get out of debt, set up an emergency fund, get out of debt. So we're one of the few companies that doesn't have like trying to give you a credit card or get you into debt. And so, just look at this, $100 billion in credit card debt is owed to all these companies. Who makes money off that? The big companies are like Canadians, obviously the big companies. And then savings rates or the average debt per household income ratio, 1980, when I was born, 60%. So that means if a household made 100 grand, that means that they had 60,000 in debt. Fast forward, they make 100 grand, now they owe 170,000 in debt. And the interesting thing about that is that we now have surpassed the United States, where we have more debt per capita than they basically have now, which is kind of crazy to think about. Because we always used to be like, the Americans are crazy, they're spending all their money, they're over leveraged, they're buying things they can't afford, and we've now surpassed them. So there's a big problem in Canada, a big financial problem that needs to be cleaned up. And then it was already bad before COVID. And then what I've noticed with COVID or the pandemic, with the way that it inflated the prices of everything, people were already struggling pre-pandemic. Now things are way more expensive. They're struggling even more. And so there's a whole bunch of stats you can read about that, but that's where we come in. So we help educate people on the different areas where a lot of the other financial companies aren't. They're trying to give you another credit card, another line of credit, get you, in Edmonton, we're right next door to Leon's. Nothing against them. They're in some of the portfolios that we provide, but it's like, don't pay until 2027 or whatever it is. When I drove here, it's like, at least before it was like, no money down house, no money down car, get your furniture, don't pay until 2027. Well, a bunch of people do that, and then basically they're not in a good spot financially. And so now people are starting to feel that. So what we do is kind of like help unwind some of that stuff, lower the interest rate, kind of educate people on where it is that they need to go. And so the reason I spent 20 some minutes going through that with you guys here this evening is that a business doesn't really matter unless there's a viable product or service. And so that's why we're growing at the rate that we're growing, is because people want this education. We have the tools to basically provide that service to them, and we have the companies to basically back us up. So that's why we're growing and expanding like crazy. I don't know, we've got close to 100 people on Zoom. We've got 30 or 40 people basically in the room here. So that's why we're expanding the way that we are. So now I'm going to pass things over to Bernardo. And so Bernardo is going to be our second presenter, talking more about the business side of things and how you could possibly fit in and work with our company. And I don't want to dig into his story too much, but maybe I'll say something that he might not say about himself. Him and his wife, Laura, have one of the fastest growing businesses in Canada. They started, around 7 years ago, and they're about to cross over 7 figures. So they're about to cross over $1 million a year in income. And now I'll let him kind of unpackage that and explain why and how and all that. But I just tell you all of that so that you understand that he's one of the best that we have, and you guys are in really, really good hands having him explain about the business and how you could possibly benefit from it. So let's welcome up Bernardo Infante.
Click here to the right, yeah, and I will be. There you go. Perfect. So how's everybody doing?
Good, very good.
And how's Zoom World? So I can see you guys. Good? Yes, okay, 1 thumbs up. Perfect. Okay. Now with this technology, guys, it's different, but it's amazing how you can reach a lot of people. So first of all, guys, I want to thank you for making the time, especially that at least here in Edmonton, the Oilers are playing. So it's an important day because you never know if you're going to go to the next round. So it's kind of like the hope for everybody. And at least thank you for carving 1 hour. And the people in Zoom, I know we have even people from all the way to the east, and they probably 2 hours ahead, so they probably in their sleeping time. And also we have all the way to the US. So thank you so much, guys, for coming. And yes, what Cam was talking about, guys, first of all, my name is Bernardo Infante. I've been living in Canada for 17 years. I graduated from university back home in Mexico, and probably this sounds a little familiar. My parents are pretty big on education. They say you need to get a good degree, so that's why I went for engineering. Not because I love it, it's because that's what the expectations were. So get a good degree, find a good country, move there, put your head down, don't say anything against your boss, and stay there for the next 30 years and get good benefits. Sound familiar? Okay, so that's what I did, guys. I went for engineering, good grades, all this stuff, and then I moved pretty much to Alberta. For the people who don't know, it's in the middle of Canada, and the reason that I moved here is because oil and gas. My dad is from the trades. He said, if you want to be in a good industry, go to oil and gas, and that's what I did. Started working in different industries around here in the city, and the most recent one, I started working for this company by the name of Shell. And it's an international Dutch company. They have the big operations in Houston, the US, in Calgary is the head office, and also in The Hague in the Netherlands, big operations in Nigeria and across the globe. So I was really happy. I started doing great things. And one of the things that I love from this company, guys, and I don't know why your reason is here, maybe you're here because of the first conversation that Ken was talking about, maybe just like a second opinion as a client. The part that I'm going to be talking about is more about the opportunity in getting licensed. So being in Canada, guys, I pretty much started getting better financially, and that's when somebody told me, Bernardo, what I recommend, you should go and talk to a broker. Guys, English is my second language, so I understood talk to a broke person. And I'm like, why should I talk to a broker if I'm looking for somebody about finance? But then it's basic information, guys. But a lot of us, or probably it's only me, when they somebody a broker, I'm like, this person is broke. Why should I talk about finance about a broke? I should go to the bank. And then that's what somebody start explaining me and say, hey, it's not that they're broke, it's that they have options. And that's what Cam was talking about. If bank A is not giving you the mortgage, it's not giving you the best option for your investments or pensions, let's go to a bank B or the green one or the blue one. Whatever the best option for you, that's what you should grab. But I told him I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the time. So someone gave me actually the phone number for one of the brokers here in the office. And then I was a little concerned. These guys, they have all the access for all these companies, but they don't work for a specific bank. But then I start understanding that it's better to sit down with someone that it's unbiased advice, that you can talk to them and doesn't matter which option they choose, it's better for me. So I started getting better financially. I was working in oil and gas. Things were good. I have my dental plan. I have my prescription plan that I never use. Thank God I was healthy. But then in 2015, guys, nobody told me, and my dad never told me, prepare me for that, there's something that it's called laid off. I was doing well. I was in a small community up north. It's called Fort McMurray. Anybody live there, work there? So Fort McMurray, we used to call it Fort McMoney. It was doing really well. It's like booming. You were 18 years old and you have 2 arms and 2 legs, $120,000, and you do a little more, like more money to you. So it was like amazing, guys, when I was there. But then it was like a war, something in the Middle East. I still remember in 2015, I was management over there, was managing around like 500 employees in maintenance, in operations, in projects. I was getting people all across the globe, from Venezuela, Colombia, Nigeria, the UK, Ireland, the US, everything. It was amazing. But then something happens in the other side of the world, and then we sit down, and that's when they start having a conversation. And I don't know if you remember in 2015, and they say, Bernardo, instead of getting people inside the company, we need to push them out. And guys, I don't know if you have ever been in a management position, a supervisory position, and you have laid off someone. It's disgusting, guys. It's really crazy that you're sitting down in front of a grown-up man or grown-up woman and you say, thank you for being in this company for 10, 15 years, laid off. Hey, I know you came from a different country, laid off, you can go back. And then I did it around 200 times. They will fly me from Fort McMurray to the operations here in Sherwood Park. They will fly me to Calgary. They will fly me back to Fort McMurray. And I was just like giving laid off letters like it was like candy. Laid off and laid off and laid off. And that's when I started saying, hey, I need to be in an industry that is going to be more sustainable, that instead of taking people's opportunity away, I can give people an opportunity. And that's when I started talking with the person that was managing my finances, because obviously when you're managing around like 400 or 500 employees, and you're they're pretty much the people you're responsible for, you start laying off people, and then it goes from 500 to 400 to 200 to a point that it was like 80 people that I was managing. I knew what was next. I was getting laid off. I was like, hey, what do you need? And it happens, and all the operations got outsourced to the Philippines. Cheap labor, they speak English, there you go. We don't need it here. We send something to Manila, we send something to the India, and then everything was settled. And I was pretty much left on the list and say, man, thank you for your services. Have an awesome rest of your day. Here's your package. But don't worry, we're gonna keep your benefits for 45 days. So if you need to go to the dentist, go now. If you need a massage. So I obviously, guys, I would tell you because it's family after 7 years, 8 years. But in that moment, when I have a 2-year-old, my wife is pregnant, we moved to Fort McMurray for that reason, not because I have family over there. And then you have having bad, pretty much situations around you guys. Say, okay, I need to find an industry can give me an opportunity that I can help other people, that I can give a chance, and it can be sustainable. Being from Mexico, from a third world country, finance is not the first option, guys. It's more labor work, it's more construction, it's maybe more cleaning, it's something like that. I don't know why, but that's what the tendency that we have. But somebody approached me and said, man, have you thought about finance? And then in my mind, I said, well, that's not what Mexicans do. And we do typical landscaping, maybe. And you're laughing because you have seen movies and dishwashing and take offense, but that's the reality. So they say, hey, I need to find an industry that can pays me well, all the stuff. I feel that I can give a lot. I don't care about getting licensed. I think that I can study well. I can do things. And then that's when they say, hey, you should try it. And then I started actually making a list of the people who had made more money. And I put there the contractors, the engineers, and everybody was making a list. And the number one person that was making more money was the financial advisor that I was working with. Like, well, if this guy has a good lifestyle, is making more money than everybody else from all my friends, I should talk to them. So I talked to him, and they say, man, you should try it. Because this is what happened, guys. I moved to this country not because of the weather, not because of McDonald's or A&W, or Tim Hortons, but I wanted to have a better life. Nothing fancy, and there's in the screen you can see some things, guys. But at least in my culture, in my community, I wanted to pay for my kids' education the same way my parents did. I wanted to give them a fair chance. Secondary education is pretty expensive. I wanted to pretty much not really travel the world, but at least I wanted to see my parents once a year. Twice a year without using my credit cards. Not fancy, not buying an island, just, okay, let's do it that way. Also, I wanted to be not only my own boss for the purpose that I want all the flexibility of the world, but when I was up north, guys, working in oil and gas, my schedule, I needed to wake up at 3 a.m. every single day, wake up, walk 2-3 blocks, imagine yourself minus 30, minus 50 degrees, waiting for the bus to pick me up at 3:45, drive me an hour to site, work there 12 hours, and then after that, drive me an hour and a half back to site. So I was leaving the house, I didn't see my family, and I was just getting at around like 6 or 7, so tired, eating, and going to sleep because I need to wake up at 3. And that's when I say, is that going to be my life for the next 40 years, 35 years? So it needs to be another alternative. It needs to be someone other industry that actually I can pay my bills. Maybe I don't want to be rich, but at least I can pay my bills. And that's when they start saying, Bernardo, have you checked about finance? And I start working and things start to become better. And this is something important. And obviously I would like to get into more details, but guess what? They put me between the Oilers game and the hockey game and this one. So thank you guys for me being between the food and the game. But here's what happened, guys. We're one of the few financial firms that allows you to do it part-time. If you go to other, I'm not going to say names, but if you want to work in the financial industry and try to see if that's something that you will be interested in, they tell you quit your job and come here. And it's too much risk, especially if you have commitments, if you have a mortgage and payments. So if I imagine coming and say, well, quit Shell and then come and work here, I'm going to say can't. I cannot take the risk. But they say, how about you keep your job, and then in the evenings, instead of watching Netflix or doing random things and being a gardener or something like that, how about you try this? You come here and you learn about finance, you help other people, and you start working around money. So that we can have a better understanding how things work. It sounds like a great idea. Why not? I am here only for working. And let's start here on the left side, guys, on the screen. And they say, okay, what's the title? What's the job description? So the first thing, Bernardo, you need to be able to help people. Because the number one thing that we do is helping others, and this is going to be your job description. You're going to help people, educate people, clients, to get better financially, and they can have a better understanding. You're going to give them the proper protection or the proper insurance. And regardless if you like insurance or not, but right now we passed COVID, and when you get sick or something happens, or you get in a car accident, that's when you're like, thank God I have life insurance, I have car insurance, and I have all this stuff. Then lower interest rate. Anybody logged their mortgage during COVID? 1%, 1.5, all this stuff. Now people are like, oh my God, 6%. I told them, say, hey, you're going to help them better on the mortgage rate. How about sending your kids to school? So you're going to be also helping them to save for their future. How about getting a better rate of return on their investments, guys? You should see how many people, they're keeping their money in cash or in a high savings, ultra mega savings account. That is funny, guys. That name doesn't mean how much rate you're going to get. It's 0.00005. And you see 3 cents. And the funny part, they charge you $15 or $10 to keep your money there in the checkings account. That's how it works. So then we're going to be moving their pensions. So then that's what I start seeing. See, that's awesome. So you're telling me I need to help them on their mortgage, on their investments, and Cam did a phenomenal job explaining. That's what you need to tell them. I'm blessed. I'm bilingual, so I do it. The appointments in Spanish. I do the appointments in English. Unfortunately, I don't speak more languages, but those are the ones that I do. And then I start explaining things, and people appreciate it. And then also, you're going to have a world-class training. So you're going to be able, we have now with Zoom, before this, we didn't have online. Now you can be, actually we have a few agents who are in the Yukon, who are in Nunavut, who are like across the globe, well, pretty much in Newfoundland and other sides of the country, and you can come to an office. We have office across Canada, the US, or you can do it from Zoom, or you can do it from the basement, so the flexibility has been amazing. Also, you need to get a license. It's called HLLQP, a government regulated course. But the beauty from that license that they didn't tell me to start is you can have a client in BC or you can have a client in Newfoundland. Same license. So then there's no territory. So if you have a client or he gave you a referral, say, hey, it's St. Bernardo, sorry, I don't know anybody in Edmonton, but I know everybody, all my friends in BC. Perfect. It's okay. It's fine. All my friends in Saskatchewan, it's okay. It's in my, so it's just like and across like Canada. Also, we have when pretty much you start getting a supervisory level, pretty much you can start having clients in the US. And this is something that I was looking, flexible schedule. I say, Cam, I'm pretty tight on my agenda or my schedule because I'm working oil and gas. It's crazy hours, but I have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday available. Say, perfect, let's do it. And that's pretty much how we started working. But then at the end, sometimes you're shy and say, okay, I'm gonna be helping people, world class. I'm gonna get a license. I'm gonna understand. I'm gonna make better decisions with my own finances. But what about the money? Can I actually replace my income? Can I actually pay my bills? And even if you Google the best industry for becoming wealthy, or at least the industry that pays the most, guys, is financial industry. Hands down, more than IT, more than others, more than doctors, is the financial industry. And just to give you an idea, we get paid in 7 different ways, but one client in average will pay between $1,000 to $1,500 in a conservative way. Helping someone like this. Finance, mortgages, investments, and then we get paid on trails and renewals, keeping your client. And like I said, different ones that I would like to go more specific, but I encourage to sit down with the person who got you here because it's amazing. I did this probably for 3 months, I will say. After seeing results, I was pretty impressed. People were thankful. I feel good. I sleep good at night. I was making good money. And then I moved from being a part-time now to senior broker. That's when I pulled the plug. And that's pretty much when I said, hey, I don't want to be working in a place where it's minus 40, minus 50 degrees. I respect the people who do that, but it's not for me. I don't plan to do it for 40 years. I want to see my kids. I want to drive into school. Pretty much, I started being a senior broker, and then I started like expanding. Now what Cam's talking, what's true, we have probably like 8 or 10 offices across Canada and the US, from BC to Toronto to Montreal, all the way to Texas. And we're getting close to, at least myself and my wife, close to 300 licensed agents, and has been a blessing. It took me like a year and a half to replace my income, another year to replace my wife's income, and this is what we have been doing for the past 7 years, and has been really, really good. In this screen, or this slide, guys, I show it sometimes not, and because the idea from this part is I focus on the previous career of the income. Because what I understood is, okay, my background is engineering, oil and gas, nothing to do with finance. But the training program or the engineering program that we have here, guys, it's phenomenal. Regardless if you're like a stay-at-home mom or you're working in retail, you're new in the country, you're born and raised in here, it doesn't matter. Because pretty much the system that we have allows you to learn the basics all the way pretty much the capacity that you're looking for. If you're looking to manage 1, 2, 5 agents, or you only want to do it by yourself, whatever it is, because we have people from different backgrounds. And then if you go on the right side, you can see the success that we have across North America. Because getting an income, let's say around like $100,000, is rare in Canada. Even in the US, where it has been flat, you need to spend probably 5 years in school, you need to spend a lot of hours. But here it's crazy that we have over 3,000 agents, and you can see there, it goes in numbers pretty much depending on what people want to see. And I like to show this, guys. And this will be my last slide before I let you go, and you can turn your TV for the hockey game. If you're here in the office, you can go and grab snacks, and or you have your Oilers jersey. If you're not have your Oilers jersey, you cannot be here in the office. Not kidding. It's your whatever. But this is a question that I got when I was in management. They said, Bernardo, what's more important, family or work? And then if you have a job, you say, well, family is really important. Yeah, but if you don't have a job, your kids don't eat. You don't pay their rent. So then you say, if job is not that important, family. So it's just like a balance, guys. You should have a balance between how much time you work, how much time you spend with the family. But it's really hard. At least what I saw in my case, I was making good money in oil and gas. I didn't see my family. I got laid off. I see my family all day long, but I don't have money. So this is ridiculous. Can I have something that I can do, that I can spend time, quality with my family and travel? And that's something that I have seen here in finance. It's not only work hard and getting licensed and helping people, all the stuff, but also, I want to say they force you, but that's how the lifestyle. Depending on the career, for example, if you like to be in PJs, be a nurse. You're going to be in PJs all day long, and that's going to be totally okay. But if you want to be like in a suit and a tie, I don't know, be a lawyer. And if you want to probably be always in running shoes and soccer shoes, be a coach for soccer. If you want to be in the ice all the time, be a hockey coach. Depending on the industry, it's how you're going to be associated with. In the financial industry, their nature is pretty much we travel a lot. Because the financial industry is the company, the insurance, the investment side. This is the best part. I don't play golf. I don't know if there are any golfers. But I started playing golf because I started being in finance. And it's fun. I still don't golf, but I take good pictures. They take me here. I'm the professional driver there, the camera guy. But then obviously we spend a lot of time with the family. We have that balance. We help the community. It's one of the best charitable events. I don't know if Cam mentioned, but it's not also, the more blessed you are, is the more you can give. And that's something that I appreciated, that this company has given me an opportunity. And I will finish with this one, guys. I know it was a lot of information in Zoom world. Thank you for being here. Also the people here at the office. But if you're interested, option one, if you're interested in the first half of the seminar that Cam and I were talking about, if you're interested on Cam's, what he was mentioning about, and I mentioned, I call it like a second opinion. If I know everybody has a financial person, you're dealing with any capacity with the bank, but I tell them, how about you get a second opinion? Just to make sure you're in the right path, just to make sure you're going to retire at 65, just to make sure you have the best rate on your pensions and your investments, the best insurance, mortgage rate. If you are, great for you, you get confirmation and you keep on going that way and you're going to be wealthy at 65 and everything's going to be fine. But don't miss this opportunity. The second option, it's maybe a part-time or a twin career, that's what we call it. You love the job you're doing right now. It's your dream job, but you have seen inflation and maybe you're thinking in Uber and skip the dishes or something other jobs. But how about giving financial industry an opportunity? I can guarantee you will not regret it. Like I said before, we're gonna gain valuable financial knowledge. You're gonna be helping others. You're gonna be making money on the side. It's a federal license, a provincial license, so that way you can see what's out there. Or the third one, like myself, guys, like I said before, I felt that I was doing well in the corporate ladder in corporate America, climbing the jobs and getting increases and bonuses, but then I realized that I didn't have the freedom. The more you go in the corporate ladder, the more they need you. It went to a point that they were giving me like a cell phone that you were available 24/7. You're on call, so they own you. They give you the computer, the credit card. So then I was like, man, this is awesome. Obviously, I become successful before 30s, but after a while, you're like, I don't think this is for me. And that's when I said, okay, if I can just replace my income, and that's when I start phasing out of oil and gas to doing in finance and things start to change. Now, I really enjoy driving. I'm kind of like, they think that I'm a homestay dad. So because I'm the one who drives my kids to school, I go to their meetings, I go to their soccer games, I go to their practices. But this business has given the opportunity that if I feel that I need to go to certain activities, I can go. I just blog at that time. I can do my appointments, and then I can come back later and do it on a different day, a different time. And that's priceless, guys. That's what I call freedom. So I really encourage you to sit down with the person who got you here. But thank you so much, guys. I let you go. You're free to go. Thank you, Zoom, for being here. Thank you for being here, guys. Thanks for coming.